Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for December 18th, 2012. Of course, it's Tuesday, and as of 9:10 a.m., we have temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, mid to upper 40s to the west of Philadelphia, and for much of the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, we're already in the lower to mid 50s. We're going to be having a very warm day today as a warm front lifts to the north. You can see all the low clouds and overcast skies here with some fog as this warm front is lifting north. Our rain is already pushed into New England, so for the most part we're going to be expecting a relatively dry afternoon. Now a cold front is approaching from the west with a few isolated to widely scattered showers, but really this is not going to be a major precipitation producing cold front for the region. What we can expect are temperatures to rise up into the mid to upper 50s over much of the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, and upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior. So clearly a very warm day is on tap. But as this cold front moves through, winds will shift to the northwest and the temperatures will fall back into the mid 40s by this afternoon and evening. And we begin our step down process. We start finishing up our step down process to what should be a rather interesting weather pattern for this upcoming winter. Remember, winter starts on December 21st. So let's take a look at our radar. You can see right here we have a few lingering isolated showers. Nothing really significant move over portions of western Pennsylvania. This will move across central Pennsylvania and into the northern mid-Atlantic by this afternoon evening with, again, a few widely scattered to isolated showers. Nothing major, nothing that's going to significantly impact travel at all. In fact, most locations will remain completely dry as the winds shift. The one big impact you'll notice is that winds are going to increase around 5 to 15 miles per hour, with gusts over 20 miles per hour as this cold front exits. Now, as you can see on the infrared satellite picture, here's our cold front. The majority of the lifting is already out over New England and over the Atlantic. So we're really not expecting any major precipitation here with this cold front. But we will notice a drop in our temperatures, especially tomorrow. We fall back into the mid to upper 40s over the interior and upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. I know, not a big drop, but just wait for it because major changes is on the way. And here is why. You see this storm right here? This storm is going to dive down towards the lower 48, carve a nice trough over the central part of the country, and lift up towards the St. Lawrence River Valley, should I say, by Friday. Now, this is going to produce a rather impressive cold front and also heavy rain on Friday morning. But after this cold front moves through, temperatures are going to crash on Friday into the 30s and 40s, and it's going to start to produce a powerful upper level low over southeastern Canada. And it's going to lead to what's called a blocking pattern called a Rex block. When you get this type of block setting up over eastern Canada, well, things start to get very interesting for much of the United States. So the pattern is definitely changing. We're definitely seeing all the indications and all the step down processes I've been talking about for several weeks, and I warned it's going to be slow, and all this forecasting from some individuals of very cold conditions for much of December was never going to work out because the pattern was not going to transition as quickly as some thought. And the reason why is because we had the same type of Rex blocks developing over the Pacific. It takes a while to break down. It took about 6 weeks. So we're starting to see the same signature starting to set up over eastern Canada. And that leads to a fundamental change to our weather pattern that's going to, well, catch some people by surprise, that is for sure. So when we take a look at the latest European model guidance, and you can follow this European guidance at the Penn State EWOL website, an excellent website for all your model needs. Here you have the weather pattern for this evening. Cold front moves through. You can see our low pressure system off the coast. Colder conditions move through, but really not a huge drop in temperatures for the most part. Thereafter, here we have the next pattern change really starting to evolve here. Our storm dives down into the upper Midwest, or should I say the southern plains. Here's one upper level low setting up off of the Canadian Maritimes, but this isn't the block yet, okay? For the most part, we have high pressure and control, comfortable weather conditions for Wednesday and Thursday, with temperatures averaging near to slightly above normal in the mid to upper 40s over the interior and lower to mid 50s along the coast. So for the most part, we're dealing with a dry, tranquil, warm weather pattern getting up into Thursday. But notice our storm cuts up into the St. Lawrence River Valley and produces a very powerful cold front. And notice the cold air starting to dive down into the Great Lakes and towards the Tennessee River Valley. By the time we get into Friday night, our storm is exploding over the St. Lawrence River Valley. Cold air is driving into the eastern United States and into the northern mid-Atlantic. Now, on Friday morning, look for periods of heavy rain early Friday morning. As that rain is exiting, cold air is going to quickly come in from behind. Could lead to a brief change over to snow, but I don't really expect any accumulation even over the northern interior. But because the storm is rapidly intensifying and developing, well, you could see a few snow showers here. Nothing intense, nothing crazy as far as accumulation, but certainly something to keep an eye on. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Here is our Rex block, okay? A big upper level low around, well, the St. Lawrence River Valley. We're seeing a ridge building over portions of Greenland down through the Canadian Maritimes around Labrador. So we're seeing this pattern set up, and as you can see, cold air is being driven into the northern mid-Atlantic. This pattern does not break down very easily. So when you see it set up in this nature, what that means is that any storm or any disturbance that tries to move into the west coast cannot cut up into the St. Lawrence River Valley. It physically cannot happen. So what we have setting up here is a pattern where storms with the subtropical jet stream are forced to cut through the southern plains and towards the east coast. Meanwhile, we have cold air dominating much of the northern tier. So as you can see, we're setting up a dynamic pattern where we get a strong thermal gradient setting up, and one in which a storm track has to be forced towards the coast and not over the interior. So this evolution of the pattern is showing us basically three things. One, we're going to get colder. This weekend, we're going to be much colder than what we have been. We're looking at highs in the mid to upper 30s, and watch out for those winds. I do expect windy conditions for this weekend, so our wind chills are going to feel more like the upper 20s to lower 30s. And considering how warm it's been, you're going to definitely feel it. But we're also going to have to keep an eye on storms like this that are going to be moisture loaded, that are going to be able to tap into the Gulf of Mexico, and that will be forced to lift up along the coast rather than over the interior. So keep an eye on these disturbances. The models are not going to handle this type of setup very well, and will tend to break down these type of blocking patterns way too quickly. So we're definitely setting up for a rather interesting weather pattern over the next couple of weeks if this block sets up the way that, well, basically almost all the ensemble model guidance is showing. So certainly it's something that we're going to keep an eye on. Certainly we're moving towards a colder weather pattern, definitely a stormier weather pattern. Whether it translates to a snowy weather pattern, well, we'll have to see how everything works out. That is your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.